Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scouser's Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. It's Friday morning, so that's right. Kermit is in action as always. The coffee is here with us today. Trying to get back to his old age is Alex in the car. Alex, what's happening?
Oh, nothing much. Just enjoying the nice day out here in Des Moines. So,
Along this mess of Bobby and Ox and Keita and stuff like that, we do forget that we will also say goodbye to Arthur. Thank God Cozzy is here to remind us all. What's up, Cozzy?
I can't.
I know. I'll give you a moment to recollect
Thank you.
yourself.
I'm good, mate. Yeah, saying goodbye to another Liverpool legend. What happens when you have to panic by a midfielder with a couple of days to go in a window? You end up with this guy here.
I never even. This is the second time, right? Like we've loaned a guy. Like at least we saw this guy. Like we know he's real. It's not like Ben Davies where we don't even know if he's real for good.
He's
So
not.
he appears like he touched the ball and stuff. We were like, no, we can see him, we can touch him.
Yeah.
He's real.
It's
But
13 minutes away at Napoli when we were 4-0 down. Will always stay true in my heart.
Sergi and Alan are here. Good morning, everybody. Okay, a couple of things to get to, and then obviously we'll talk about the game as well coming up tomorrow. First off is this. So the fine comes down. It's a 2-game ban. We were kind of like, I guess we did not understand this 75,000 thing when, while Tony got fined 50, but then 8 months. So it was just like, who's determining these numbers? I don't know if it's like more of a trying to be a deterrent. So let's start with that, Kazi. Do they come up with this number just to make it so that it's some kind of a deterrent? It's not probably a deterrent, but is it more to send a message? Because I don't think, Klopp is like, oh, if it was 50, I would do it all the time. 75, I guess I'm going to have to stop.
I think Klopp will play 75 grand to see Diogo Jota score a last minute winner most home games. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Let's get, so listen, it's a 75k in a 1-game ban. I think he's kind of got off quite well.
Really? You think so?
Do me, yeah. I know the financial side is expensive, but the 1-game ban, he had a 1-game ban this season for the same kind of thing. And I thought he might, go, we'll give you a 3 or 4-game ban kind of thing. The FA, I think they've done it to get out the way this season. So it's basically starts afresh now. And I think they might have thought, well, 2-game ban, get away to Southampton, no one really cares anyway. We'll just do the 1-game. I don't know. It seems a bit weird. I think he's got away quite likely. His past record isn't great, Tim. It isn't.
True.
It's not. It isn't. And, the Paul Tierney comments, I think what really got Klopp up was when he said, well, I would send you off, basically. But because of him, I'm going to give you a yellow. Which is, it's not that. It's either, is it a yellow or is it a red? It should be black and white. It shouldn't be, well, if it was me, I'll give you the red, but he's doing you a favour kind of thing. No, it shouldn't work like that, really. I don't think, mate. I don't think it should work like that. Because that you're automatically going in there with an agenda to say, well, I would send you off, but because he said it was a yellow, we're going to stick with a yellow. It just seems all a bit weird to me.
Yeah, because so the exact quote is, he says, right, I have to show you yellow. It could be red, but the screen. Thanks, Echo, for shoving that ad right in the middle of the page. I'm going to show you yellow. He wanted a yellow. We will give you the benefit of the doubt. Don't do anything more. So, I mean, honestly, when I read that conversation, if it's not Paul Tierney, if it was maybe a referee we respected, good luck finding one. But I don't take it as like what has happened. I don't take it as negative. The guy comes in and says, hey, by the way, fucking Klopp was in my face over here while you guys were like, calling the goal. And the VAR guy looks at it and says, oh, yeah, that's a definite yellow. That's ridiculous. Which, to be fair, when you look at it, yes, it is. If anybody else did it, like anybody who's saying like, oh, yeah, Tierney can be a shit ref, but if Arteta or somebody did that, we'd be talking about it for like weeks over here. Or if Pep did that or something like that. So he celebrates in the ref's face, clearly to the ref, saying like, "Up yours." So yellow. Tierney comes over. So Tierney says, "Alex, basically, you're lucky I'm not the guy on the sideline, because if I was the guy on the sideline, I would ask for a red. He's asking for a yellow, so I'm showing you a yellow." which honestly, having done management for like decades, sadly, showing my age here, when you say something like that, basically that's your cop out for not using your full authority. You'd be like, I think it calls for this. Well, then you're the guy in charge. Doesn't matter what he's asking for.
Yeah.
You're the guy in charge. You give what is deserved. Because
Hmm.
that's why you're the main guy. It's not like what he wants. Like if you wanted you to slap him, you're not gonna go there and slap him. It's like whatever the rule is. What do you think, Alex? I mean, first off, what do you think of the incident? Is it deserved? Give me your take.
I mean, I definitely, I, I agree with Cozzy. Klopp's track record over the past with referees and everything um, hasn't been great, and I think he did get off lightly. I do agree with that as well. Um, but as it stands, like it is a strange comment, and it's also strange why it took so long to make this decision. I thought for surely they would make this decision the next day. Like, yeah, Klopp needs to be touchline banned, but they took a couple weeks, and then they're like, oh, by the way, you're banned. So it really doesn't make any sense. And we've had a lot of weird. I mean, we've had a lot of strange referee things. A lot of us forget what about a month ago was Andy Andigan elbowed in the face by an assistant referee. So like it's been a lot of strange stuff going on with the whole everything in the referee department as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And then again, I agree too. Why not just show the red? Why even say that to somebody? Oh, if it was me on the side, I'd be asking for a red. Just give them the red. You have the authority to give the manager a red.
It's like textbook. I'm not a hard ass, but I
Yeah.
love going around as the hard ass.
Yeah.
That's textbook. Like, you're like, I would have done this. You're lucky he wanted this. No, you wouldn't. Basically, no. In other words, you wouldn't have the balls to do the red either freaking ways. What that means to me, Cozzy.
It's a power play, innit? It's just a power play. We know we got history with this referee, But the other part is, which people aren't really taking into consideration, why did Klopp do it? He done it because of the sheer incompetence of these officials. They're not even like the bad, they're just incompetent. They're just nowhere near the standard of the level. Mo Salah, the tackle on Mo Salah, again, the Ben Davis, that's how it all came from, because they scored off that free kick when they turned over the ball. It's so clearly a foul. It's literally the most clear of a foul. And that happened early on the season with Bernardo Silva on the counter-attack, and he just literally pulled them down by any means necessary. And the foul went the other way. It's incompetence. If this is where like people go, oh, people should show referees more respect. Yes. Referees should also do their job correctly. They are on 200 grand a year, and they also have VAR to back them up. They work 90 minutes twice a week. They go in and do a little, oh, yeah, we work all week. No, you don't. You sit there and watch the TV and go, I got that wrong, I got that wrong, I got that right. And then you have a little run around to keep your fitness up. That's not working. You are sheer incompetent. The level of standard of refereeing is a disgrace, and it needs to be stepped up next season. I quite like how they've done, where they are letting more fouls go this season. That is a positive. It is a positive for the league. But the sheer incompetence of, especially with Salah, not protecting the players. And then you have the nerve of some journalists this week writing, oh, we've got to protect players like Bukayo Saka. It's happened to Salah since he came in the league. It's happened to Salah. How about the level of refereeing can step up and you will not see reactions like that?
Well, I think Saka's English, so that's kind of is a huge part of the ordeal over there. So as he says, to be fair, we got away with Jordan not getting a red card that game. And that's the thing, I noticed that, when we say refereeing is poor, I feel like, yeah, we get some calls that we probably, it's like, what? How was that a corner or whatever? So much stuff happens in a game where you have so many eyes watching. And I understand some things can be blocked, your view can be blocked and stuff like that. But when it happens this many times, it is literally obnoxious. And I know it becomes the chicken and the egg. If he doesn't do that, then we don't do that. But if you don't do this, he doesn't do that kind of a deal. But yeah, I mean, honestly, when we saw it, you were like, it's way over the top, Klopp's reaction. But that's just Klopp. And I think that's what you're going to get. I remember, like we talked on, I think it was the Monday podcast, And my thing is, this is what you're gonna get with this guy. You either like the emotion or you don't like the emotion. You can't have
Yep.
the positive emotion without the negative emotion. I mean, it's gonna, like, his physical reaction is gonna come out either
By
way,
the,
and that's
by the way,
it
though,
is what it is.
following on from that comment there, that Jota should have been sent off. Jota done the tackle on Skip. Skip should have been sent off.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, Skip's
Before that one, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, and that's why it becomes a
that's what I'm
chicken and
saying.
egg thing. Yep.
You know what I mean? Skip's challenge was horrific. It was. He didn't even get yellow carded. He didn't even get booked. It was a horrific challenge. So again, that's on both sides now. Where the standard of refereeing needs to be stepped up. It's disgusting.
Alan says Cozzy would be a great referee. I would, yes, sincerely doubt that. Yes.
Yeah, not good.
I am not playing in that freaking game. That's for sure. Okay, so today's press conference, honestly, like the entire time was pretty much spent on let's not forget Ox and Keita kind of a thing. That's the way I read that. He even forgot Arthur, by the way. Even Club forgot about Arthur. I don't think his name was brought up in the press conference. But it was more like, I think he realizes that Bobby's going to get the main love, as he should. But yes, Milner should get just as much from the fans. But I think, Alex, it's more about personality than anything else. Milner is a professional. The way he goes about his stuff and what he does is usually not seen by the fans, whereas Bobby is more of a showman, and so we see it. Obviously what he does on the field, but his celebrations. He has so many things going for him. It's natural that the fans are going to have, I guess, more. They're going to show probably more love to Bobby.
Mm-hmm. I think it. I agree with that. I think more is going to be the Bobby, but I think a lot of people love Milner too, especially what he brought to the club and how versatile he was. He played left back, right back. He played CDM, central midfielder. He played everything.
Yep.
Under Klopp, and I think those two will get the most. To be honest, with the other two, I mean, everybody's over Keita. We're done with Keita, and to be honest, I think Ox is just a forgotten man. He's just been out of this team for so long. There's some people that probably forget that he's even at the club, let alone this. Hey, I'm leaving type stuff. So I think it will be an emotional day tomorrow, especially with Bobby and James Milner. But I think at the same time, everybody's going to be happy for what they brought to the club, especially looking at Bobby's fee. What his was 35 million. Man, was that a steal? Holy cow, was that a steal?
It didn't look like it initially, though. Until this system came about, it sure didn't look like it. So let's talk about Ox and Keita, because I do put them in two totally different categories. Because despite, the common theme is obviously the training room, but I feel like with Ox, it's more. I guess injuries are bad luck in either way, but I feel like and that's where this whole great opportunity for Ox thing comes from. And I feel like he has done a lot of good stuff when on the field, and obviously Keita has done as well in the limited time we've seen him when he's gotten games back to back and stuff. But I give more credit to Ox when we look back a decade from now, Cozzy. I will still give more credit to Ox and be more thankful for Ox, because there was absolutely zero drama around Ox at all times, while we always had this stuff with Keita, and I think that tarnishes whatever he has done.
Yeah, I think for Ox, mate, it's just so unlucky. People forget. I always say this with the Coutinho thing. When Coutinho left in January, you forget that fucking Ox got injured in middle of March, and you're like, and that was the crux of it all, really, against Roma. Oh, sorry, it would have been the semi-final April. So you're like, I swear blind, if Ox is fit for that first final in Kiev, we win the game. I swear, the form he was in going up to Roma.
That's fair.
Because people always forget that the Salah, I think Salah goes off and he brings Emre Can on, who hadn't played for 3 months because he was injured, and he was just fit for that game. So I think with the, and I'm heartbroken for Ox, really, because he had all the ability in the world. And I felt sorry for him this season, because when he came in, the turn of the year. He actually started to play well. He got a goal against Brentford, and I thought this might kick him on. I think he scored against Brentford that didn't play again. And you're like, well, surely the lad's confidence there would have been back. He's got a goal. He played well the second half. So that's on the manager. But in terms of Keita, mate, I don't think there's been a bigger letdown of a signing in Liverpool's history. Morientes.
History? Wait a second now. Man, that's a pretty long bad history. I was with the last decade, but
yeah, the only ones I'm thinking of is like Morientes. But he was 6.5 million. But when he came in, he had this big. He just got to the Champions League final with Monaco. He was at Real Madrid. He came to Liverpool. Everyone was thinking, "This is the kid. This is the guy." Didn't work out. Have a think.
How about Andy Carroll?
Well, no, because I don't think there was any expectation on Andy Carroll. Everyone knew what that signing was. He was 35 million quid. But also, let's get it right. Andy Carroll, he scored a winner in a FA Cup semi-final. I'm not saying no. Let me reword it. I'm not saying he's the worst signing ever. I'm saying in terms of the hype that he had.
Is that partially because we waited for him for so long too? Like, exactly. Like he's coming. It's like a movie announcement.
Genuinely, you know what I mean? Like Fast 10. Do you know what I mean? Like another Fast and Furious. Just kept getting rolled out. And basically, that's what Keita's career was. Fast.
Like injured and furious.
Yeah, Fast and Furious. He's in and out. Yeah. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying in terms of ability he's the worst signing ever. I'm not saying it. But in terms of what we thought he was going to be, let's get it right. Liverpool don't get many £50 million signings wrong. They don't. When Liverpool sign a player for over 50 million quid, they're usually bulletproof. This guy was meant to be the guy to take us to that next level. And you can argue that Liverpool got there anyway. But he was meant to be still sitting in our midfield for 10, 15 years. And it hasn't worked out. The reason why it hasn't worked out is because of his injury record. Let's cut ties. He's not a reliable player. He's gone. Thank fuck for that. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for playing one of the worst 45 minutes away at Real Madrid that I've ever seen in my life to get farmed off in a quarter-final when you were asking for starts. I really appreciate it, Naby, but please leave.
Yeah, I think so. So that's a good question, though. Alex, is it just injuries? Like, would this guy, if healthy, be the midfielder that we wanted? Or, because I personally get a little bit of the sense that he was not physically built for the Premier League.
Yeah, I definitely see that argument that he was not physically there. And we forget the reason why we bought Naby was because Ox kept getting injured. Because I'm with Cozzy as well. The trajectory that Ox was going for those first 2 years at Liverpool, he was going to be in England's midfield. That's how good he was.
Man, I talked about Ox. You guys gave me shit for like fucking 4 years. Now everybody is like, yeah, Ox was great, man. So, you know what? I quit.
Ox now and Ox in 2017 is a totally different Ox. So, yeah. But I mean, he had the trajectory to do it. And I think, and that is the main reason why we went out to get Naby was to, cover for Ox, who, had injury problems. That's the biggest thing. And, the other issue, I think the biggest issue is his attitude, especially when, he was like, everybody was getting these deals and he was kind of like, what about me? I should be getting that same amount. But everybody's like, no, you really shouldn't because you're not producing what you're asking for. And that's not what Liverpool is. They're gonna give it to the guys that are actually producing, doing everything, and he just really hasn't. And ever since he made those comments about, oh, what about me? The fans really turned on him.
Yeah, I mean, Sir Z was saying like he dug his own grave by taking over Stevie G's shirt. I think, why that only added to the pressure of producing after being waited forever on, I would say. But I don't know if I don't think Keita even understands the scope of that. It was more like, I'll take 8. I like 8. I was 8 when I was in high school kind of a thing. It wasn't like, I'll take 8 is Stevie G's number. I'll be his successor kind of a deal. I don't think he understood. I mean, that was more like, yep, that's my number. I like it. If it's available, I'll take it kind of a deal more than anything else. And I think the pressure was, we waited so long for him. And then when he came over, I almost feel like there was a partial immediate, man, I don't think I made the right move by him as well in the back of his head. Maybe as he got injured, because I really feel like he just physically reminds me a little bit of, I'm not putting him in the same category, but like Taki. Like, yes, skill wise, definitely. Physically, maybe not. And I think that's where I'm at a little bit with Carvalho right now as well. At least for the position, I just don't know if you can physically take. You can have a great game, but game after game, I don't know if you can take that physical abuse in the Premier League. You don't have a lot of little guys successful without getting injured very often. It's a rare scenario.
You say that though, mate. I'm about to sign Alexis McAllister. So
yeah, but okay, you can't compare size-wise McAllister. You run into McAllister, you're bouncing back. You run into Keita, Keita is flying. That's the way it looks like that. You know what I mean?
There's also an argument here though with Keita. We just don't know. Because he hasn't had that run of games for 10 games. It's a bit like the Jones thing. We always get onto Jones on this chat, which I'm always a big fan of on this podcast. But it's a bit like the Jones. You just don't know. Because we'll never know. Because you never played 10, 12 games on the bounce where you can go, well, now we know what Naby Keita is. We'll never know. What is he?
Okay, let me ask you this. You think if Ox was on contract next season, would he get a similar Jones-like run at the end of the season?
No.
An opportunity, like a great opportunity for Ox to show what he can do?
No, I don't. And
just the age, you think, is?
Yeah, I think that's an age thing, yeah. I think he also rates Jones. Let's get it right. Before Jones got this run, he did start him at home to City in a couple of games. And so he has started him in big football matches, Curtis Jones. So he's always rated Jones. But we didn't know what Jones was. We all thought, let's get Jones out. And I was always on the part of, let's just give him a run of games, see what he is. I don't know what he is. You know what I mean? And now it looks like, he could save us 50 million quid. Speaking of, though, Tim, I feel like because every week we talk about Curtis Jones. Where are you at with Curtis Jones now? After him putting in a Steven Gerrard-esque performance.
I'm still getting shit for Curtis Jones, man. Like, even Monday, I don't know. I think everybody within 3-4 games are freaking flying with Curtis Jones. Let's pump the brakes.
8 games now.
Let's pump the brakes. Because we made Ben Woodburn Coutinho. Who needs Coutinho? We have Ben Woodburn. I remember that shit because he played 3 games on the bounce and it was really good. So let's calm the hell down. I think the worst thing we can do right now, and I'm really scared that we're headed that way because I see it in fans over here on this freaking channel that midfield issues are half solved because we have Curtis. Look at Curtis. Now we don't need a $50 million signing. Curtis is going to be like a new signing. Let us not go that route. He should be the 5th. Preferably the 6th midfielder in that depth chart. Oh, you're so. See, I am going to clip this crap because I am going to come back. I hope I don't have to, but I will come back to you guys and say this because I feel like people are jumping the gun. I'm extremely pleased with his progress because things he was not doing before that we were criticizing him for, he is doing now. Press-wise, track and back-wise. And I think he's kind of got him past the let me make a move over here thing, and he's playing more within the system. And another thing is this fan base always kind of like has been clamoring for like a midfielder who can get goals from midfield. But the way we do it is most of those midfielders do not make those runs into the box just by design. I think moving Trent into the midfield when we have the ball enables that other midfielder to be able to push forward. Because now, instead of having Fab, Hando, Jones there, you suddenly almost have Fab, Hando, Trent, and enables Jones to push and make those runs into the box and stuff like that. So I think any midfielder we put in that role would be able to produce some attacking. I'm not saying he's not doing great. I'm just saying let's pump the damn brakes over here. Alex. You're in a car. Are you pumping the brakes on Jones over there? What are you doing?
Okay, I might not be the one that goes, okay, Steven Gerrard-esque. But the thing is, I was just thinking about it. You know who he really reminds me of? He reminds me of Milner. He goes in. He knows Jones. He goes in. He knows the system. He knows what Klopp wants. He knows what he has to do, and he'll put a proper shift in. That's the thing you're getting with Jones. He'll put a proper shift in for you. And the thing we know for sure that we know Jones can shoot. That is one thing we do know. We know he can cork one into the top bin. He's done it before. He's done it in the past.
He's done it once.
What was that?
He's done it once.
Hasn't he done
And
it
he's
twice?
tried it another 20 times since. Let's be honest. That curler he had to Everton, he's had that. I mean, yeah, let's not make him like this long distance shot shooter over here. He did that curl once, and he's tried another 20 times, and it has not worked since.
What he say? I think what Alex is saying is though he is our probably most trustworthy midfielder to get a goal, right? And he is like what he reminds me of is like a Wijnaldum player where he just doesn't lose the ball. In tight spaces, he doesn't lose the ball.
Yeah, he does
kind of, and that's what he reminds me of. And I think that's why Klopp trusts him a lot more. I'm not saying he's, but what I'm saying is when it looked like 5 months, let's just say back in December, it looked like Liverpool needed fucking 4 midfielders. Let's get it right. And then Bajcetic has stepped up, the forgotten man, and now Jones has stepped up. So the argument is now, do you do 2? Do you know what I mean? That's what the club will think.
See, that's what I'm afraid of. Though that should not be the argument. It should be 3. The answer should be 3.
I think it should be 3. I think it should be 3 because I don't think Bajcetic is still ready, really, to be playing full Premier League seasons. I don't think, especially with the Europa League as well, if that's what we're going to be in. So, my argument is with Jones though. He should keep that position. I don't care who you sign, but it's up to that new signing now to take him out that position because
you're automatically losing 3 midfielders. You got to replace him anyway. Ox, Keita, Milner. You just lost 3 midfielders.
But Bajcetic wasn't an option at that time when we were adding them up. So your argument is then, so there's 2, isn't it? That's the argument. No. But I still think 3. I'm with you, Tim.
Okay.
Think 3. I still think
let's not feed this thing over here.
But the club will not think like that. The club won't just go, we've got to do 3. Because they will look at Bajcetic and they will look at Curtis Jones and go, well, is Curtis Jones going to save you 50 million quid? Because that's how the club will think. I think that is Jones's position until he does performances to lose it.
Okay, here we go. Let me ask you guys this. Somebody comes over. Let's pick a team over here. Who's coming up?
Who's coming up? Burnley.
Burnley comes over. I don't know if he fits, but okay. Like Burnley comes over, gives 30 for Jones.
No.
Alex, you taking it or not?
Who before Jones? Sorry, you cut out on me.
Burnley is coming in and they say, you know what? Meanwhile, within these last 30 seconds, they upped their bid to 35 because they saw Cozzy's head shaking furiously. So they're like, hey, we'll give you 35 million for Curtis Jones. Are you moving Curtis? Are you keeping Curtis? 35 million is the price.
No.
Sparky and I are agreeing way too much these days, so this is almost getting semi-scary. Okay.
To be honest with you, that's a good price that I don't know if Liverpool can turn down for Curtis Jones.
Ooh, I lured Alex.
That's bullshit. This is bullshit. What can you get for 35 million?
The corner of the meeting room is like, I call bullshit.
What can you get for 35 million these days? You can't get anything. The kid's on your books. If that kid played for Real Madrid and you watch that performance, you'll go, fucking hell, he's a player. You would. It's just because it's Curtis Jones. You would.
I lured Alex with the price over there. Alex, it was like the $39.99.
You disgust me, Alex. You disgust me. How dare you?
I think that's a good counter argument, even though 35 sounds like a great. Sparky was selling him for 30. I should have called it right there. But I think that's a good argument. What are you gonna get with that 35?
Do you watch football? Do these guys watch football? Look how the performances he's putting in. I'm not saying that Liverpool, listen, if fucking 60 million quid comes and sell the kid, he's 23, 24, he's English, he's got that prime example. Liverpool need to sign British players at the best of times. He also said in this press conference today he wants to keep Adrian. So there's another number.
Yeah, it sounded like there's no. That was like the second thing I was going to get to. The way he sounded, I mean, he said basically, unless somebody comes with my 35 million offer, Keller is not going anywhere either. Mate. And it sounded like we're keeping that goalkeeper squad as is. Or I don't know, that was his way of saying, don't come with 30, come with 35.
He looked disgusted, didn't he? When someone suggested Keller here, he looked disgusted by the man. He was like, what? He's got a contract? How is it to say you? How dare you? Honestly,
but, yeah, I think the problem is the homegrown numbers and all that kind of stuff. So I think when you talk about Keller, when you talk about Curtis and stuff like that, those kind of have to come into equation. Yes, I threw that number out there, but see, I got Alex at least in that meeting room. But I agree. I agree to the agreement, like the argument that what are you going to get with that money when you turn around? It's a
Mhm.
really risky proposition, especially in midfield. I think it would be a bigger chance to be able to be taken in the front line, like the attacking line or something
Yeah,
for that for like Liverpool.
yeah,
But as much as we're hurting in that midfield, taking another chance and like giving up one of the few ones that you know for sure is probably risky. So tomorrow, going back to the press conference, Bobby is fit. So he's gonna be able to get involved. So I take that as he'll be on the bench. No Nunez, still very painful injury on the tendon or something along those lines. He just
yeah,
said
yeah,
very painful.
yeah.
I like when he says that, like, for certain injuries, and the other ones are like, that's fucking nothing. He's just injured. And the other ones are like, that's really painful. Been there. Like, if it's an injury that Klopp has had, he
Yeah.
feels it. Like, he's like,
One
that's
of
painful.
when it's one of his favorites, isn't it? When it's one of his latest little oh, he's in so much pain. Do you know what I mean? And he just now he
He's
just goes,
hurting.
and now he just goes, Kais is injured again.
Yeah, he's never said, like, he's in pain back there.
No,
Like,
no. He says, "Oh yeah, he's injured again. He's shown up. He's
fine.
got a bad neck because of the pillow last night. He can't play for 3 weeks." Fuck's sake.
So tomorrow, then, based on that information, expecting the same lineup as before with the infamous Curtis Jones in midfield again, Alex, or
Yeah,
any changes?
probably same lineup that we had from last week. Probably that's I think it seems like that is we've done it for a couple games now, done it for a couple weeks. The guys look like they really like the system. I think we just stick with it. So um as far as maybe anybody switching, like coming in, I mean, I don't really see a whole lot. Maybe the whole does Hendo play? Does Hendo not play?
I think
That
he
I
plays.
about it
Yeah.
really comes to that. I think Hendo plays. You know, club captain last home in the game of the year. He probably starts. So, but as for everything else, I think it's just going to be the same.
Yes, he says, why hold on to? I don't understand the Adrian hate. I really don't, because I feel like it's your third goalkeeper, and
Yeah.
name me the third goalkeeper of it. If I asked you any squad, so ask me, name me the third goalkeeper, you probably would never be able to.
The
And
only
this is
thing
the
I
guy.
don't like.
I think what he brings in
Yeah,
that locker room, in that training room with the other
yeah,
goalkeepers, we have
Yeah,
invested a lot in some young
yeah,
goalkeepers as well. I think he's almost like an assistant coach that can come in and play if need be. He's getting a lot of money, but it's almost like you're paying a coach and a goalie at the same time there, Cozzy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not Adrian's biggest fan. I think he's garbage. But the one thing I'd say, it seems like the lads like him. Just seems like
yeah,
the lads like
Yeah.
him. It's just
yeah.
nice to have a sound lad in the dressing room because he's just a sound lad. I'm a big fan of these clubs buying the old British players until they're like 42 as your fair choice keeper just to get the numbers on the like Scott Carson still at City and stuff like, you know what I mean? I think it was Lee Grant, and I think it was at United, and they just signed Tom Heaton last summer because Tom Heaton's English, and they were like, "Here, you're going to be fair choice keeper and just go away." United just signed Jack Butland as the second keeper,
Yeah.
like just because you're British kind of thing, and you
I
just,
was like, dude, you're still playing? Like, yeah,
you know what I
come
mean?
on over. Like,
They've got two English keepers, so that's the kind of way I look at it. But the guy does have a point though. With Liverpool struggling for British numbers, it does make it doesn't, you know what I mean? I was by the way, I was banging to going to get someone like Ben Foster last summer, but I don't think Klopp's going to be banging to Ben Foster bringing a GoPro into training, so that ain't going to happen anytime
Yeah.
soon. But someone along those lines, basically, these third choice, these old English keepers now have all got premiums. They can all sign for these big clubs and sit on the bench and go, yeah, give me 10 grand a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'll just sit here for you as your third choice. So
I think what he brings, aside from just sitting on the bench, probably pays his wages. I feel like you say,
Yeah.
the guys like him, and I think he provides a good, I don't know, like a role model maybe for the goalies, or if Ali is happy with it, if Keller is happy with it. I think if that room, the goalkeeper thing it's kind of like different in soccer, right? You don't have it as much in like American football. Like you have, the wide receivers room, like the quarterbacks, like it's more groups.
yeah,
I think in soccer, it's always been the goalkeepers because they almost like go off and like practice themselves. and it's everybody else. Like, yeah, you'll have separate drills for defense and stuff, but in most you're together. It's not as separated, I feel like, as like a football would be, with the exception being goalkeepers. So if you have like a happy environment there that's thriving,
let them. Yeah.
Why fuck with it? Is the thing.
There's a big. I think I seen an interview with Kyle Walker last year, and he mentioned Scott Carson, and he went, he's just best mates with Edison. He goes on to his house and they cook each other food, and they're really close. They go out all the time with Edison, and he probably just paying Scott Carson just to do that. Just keep him happy. You know what I mean? Just keep
go make Edison lunch.
It's his best mate, isn't it? Just go and chill out with him. But I think for the other thing for Liverpool and the last thing on Adrian, because I didn't think we'd speak about Adrian for this long. But the last thing on Adrian, I would say it's always good to have another Spanish speaker, because Klopp doesn't speak Spanish openly, and Thiago has to communicate with Darwin. So Thiago has to go through them. So it's always nice to have another guy who can just help him out a little bit.
Yeah, because God knows what Thiago is telling him. They're like, just roll it around your ankles a bunch of times.
Just when the ball's on the bounce from 45 yards, just shoot.
Just slide. Does Bobby play so he can come off a standing ovation, Alex?
No.
Or is it you bring him onto a standing ovation?
No, I think look, the way Bobby is, he knows that there's still a game. Yeah, it's his last home game, everything, but he's going to be coming on there to do business no matter what happens. He's not going to be doing the whole, oh, yeah, this is my last home game type stuff. It was great memories. He's going to, whenever he comes on, either if he's starting or he's coming on, he's going to go out there to do business, and that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
I think it's worse if you start him and then we're chasing the game and you have to take Bobby out because he's not performing well.
There's no sentiment in football. Let's get it right. Liverpool have to win this football match. If this is a not a football match and Liverpool was sitting 7th and we couldn't go any higher or lower, then he would start. He'd start Milner. He'd start Liverpool have to win this football match. And so there's no sentiment involved. Bobby, even if he doesn't get on the pitch, you don't get on the pitch, whatever. I'm sorry, but that's fucking life. If you know what I mean, it is what it is. Liverpool have to win, so no sentiment, no change to the starting lineup. Go again. If you're carrying injuries, I don't want to hear you. I don't care. There's 2 games to go. Oh, fucking, I've got a little bit of a tight hamstring. Here's an injection. You get until the end of the season. Then go away.
Rub some dirt on it.
By the way, that, as you can see in the Discord chat, that Brighton game really fucking offended me last night from the Derby. Fuck me. I've had enough of listening to this prick thinking he's a fucking cross between Pep and Jupp Heynckes. Fuck you. How dare you bring an 18-year-old Australian kid off the bench from the fucking out the outback? How dare you? Who do you think you are, Derby? You arsehole. Anyway.
Going back to Bobby, I think it's more about I think you don't lose anything by having this scenario as Bobby coming in. Sparky says last 10 minutes, I was going to put him in like 70th or something like that. Because if you are not winning at the time, if you're chasing it, you're kind of like hoping for a dream ending, like a fairy tale ending for him. He comes in and scores off the bench. And if you're already comfortably winning, well, he's coming in, to do a couple of his turns and moves and stuff like that. So I think you don't have anything to lose. Whereas I feel like if you start him, and things are not going well, and you have to be like, this is why we need Gakpo in there, the newer version of Bobby. Yeah, it does. I think it's like a worse of a look. And if he comes off in the 70th minutes in a tie game or something like that, I don't think he gets the same ovation he would coming into a game late or whatever. I think he's going to get the dude got his song sang for like 15 minutes in an away game. So I'm thinking of that. Saido wants to know about Barella. I don't know, any Italian player, those dudes rarely come on over. If they're happy, if they're semi-happy in Serie A, I think they rarely come on over. And I don't see why this dude would not be happy right now.
I mean,
especially if they're Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the Champions League final. I guess, like, if they couldn't get far or whatever, I can understand that. But
it's a very important stat that everyone has to think about Italian players. Only one's ever won the Premier League, and it was Mario Balotelli. So
the goats.
They do not come,
the goat of Italian players.
They do not come over and situate well. There's very few. Di Matteo, I can probably think of, Zola, but there's very few that really.
It is very few, yes.
You know what I mean? There's not many Italian players who come in and get basically the pace of our league.
Is that because they don't have good pasta in England?
I mean, it's a very fair argument. British coffee is garbage, and they love a little coffee, don't they? They love a little espresso. Wait till you find out what we put on pizza. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, English food is not. I mean, having lived there a couple of years, I have to admit. I mean, you know, to get a good food, you got to go to like either an Indian restaurant or a Turkish restaurant
Yeah.
anyway. So,
Yeah. But I mean, listen, if Barella's the guy, Barella's the guy. Do you know what I mean? I'm a fan of him. I think he's a good player. Tardy, I would say. I don't think he's sets the world on. He had a bad injury, didn't he? I think a couple of years ago, if I remember correctly.
yes.
Yeah. And that kind of, that might have set him back, but he could possibly about to win the Champions League with Inter Milan. And then you might want a fresh start, but I'm not really.
I mean, I will be all for it. I just don't see it happening. I'm not even like dreaming of that move because I just don't see it happening.
Yeah,
I think being Italian is like the biggest.
Does he get you? He doesn't tickle me balls. Basically, he doesn't get me excited. I'm just not. Yeah, Barella, woo. You know what I mean? I want someone to really go fucking like that's a signing. Do you know what I mean? I don't know who that is. I just still don't know. But he's just that kind of player for me.
So tomorrow, let's do some predictions over here. Alex, let's start with you. We're pretty much all expecting the same lineup, sounds like. I know Saido mentioned Jota, but I think we still go with Gakpo in the middle. I think he's like in that role. Diaz would be maybe Jota would start, but I think we're kind of like playing Diaz back into form as well. I'm coming back from the injury, and I think the more he plays, the more Diaz we're going to get back to the normal one. But give me a prediction for tomorrow, Alex.
Is Ollie Watkins fit?
I think so, but it's coin toss.
Okay, I say 2-0.
Nice.
I say 2-0.
Wait, how did Watkins figure in that equation then? If he's fit, I thought maybe we were going to give him a goal or something.
Yeah, well, like
and they're not scoring, kind of. Or you were wondering that at the same time, like, by the way, I got to set my fantasy lineup. Is Watkins playing?
The thing is like Klopp's teams play very well against Emery's teams. That's just kind of how it's been. Like when we played Arsenal, we played well against.
Oh, but that was Arsenal.
I guess the first game it was his first game in charge at Villa that we beat him 3-0 or was it 3-1? What was that game? That was Boxing Day.
Yeah,
right?
Pachetic scored, didn't he?
Yeah. So
it might have been his first game.
I'm getting old. How do you guys remember specific things like this? Is beyond me. Go for it.
Scored,
so I think we play well against the Unai Emery side. So I think we'll win 2-0 tomorrow. That's just me. I think we'll win 2-0.
Okay.
If Ollie's not playing. So
okay.
Well, we just told you he's fit, man.
But we were kind of hesitant on maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't know.
Maybe. So
Cozzy, what do you got?
As soon as someone mentions the Unai Emery team, I just think of Alberto Moreno and Basel.
I know, right? Why is that? I think you say Unai Emery, I think Villarreal.
Yeah, look, I think at the Europa League final when Alberto Moreno turned in an Alberto Moreno performance, and that was that. But yeah, listen, I think Liverpool win comfortably because Liverpool are playing very well right now. And we've won last 7 on the bounce. So another comfortable win. I think we've had 3 clean sheets on the bounce now, I think. Yes, 3 clean sheets. So Liverpool are looking more secure. I don't care who it is. I don't care who we're playing. I fancy us against anyone. Because that's, again, you win set on Liverpool's home record.
Confidence I need on a Friday. Okay,
mate, Liverpool's home record's fantastic. We're unbeaten in 9. Why can't we just back these lads again and just start to believe in these lads again? Yes, they were shit. Klopp got it right. They were shit.
Yes, they were shit. Why can't we back these guys? Yeah, they were shit.
They were shit up until about February. They were absolutely garbage. They were starting me and you centre midfield one game. So, I mean, now these lads have turned it round. Let's just give them our confidence. Let's give them our thing. I think Liverpool will win comfortably. I say 3-0 Liverpool. I don't think they're ever going to let Bobby Firmino go out on a defeat. And if they are, they can all go to fuck. I don't care about any of them. I don't want to see them until fucking September. I don't want to see an Instagram post on Aldi if you lose this game for Bobby Firmino. I do not want to see you with your hot girls on holiday in Marbella, all right, while Bobby Firmino has to go back to Brazil to find a club. You arseholes. But they're not going to lose. Liverpool win 3-0.
Isn't Bobby going to Barcelona?
Sorry?
Isn't Bobby going to Barcelona?
Mate, I think it's a lovely move, People say,
I think so too.
So, mate, 110,000 people go and challenge for La Liga. Go and play for a club that's massive in Brazil. He's already said his idol was Ronaldinho. Go and play for Barcelona. Be the man. Cool. Go and play with Lewandowski and that Pedri and Jack. It's a lovely little move.
Yeah, I mean, if he's like, I'm not gonna get a lot of minutes anyway, like just go do that. Yeah,
just come.
I don't fault him for it. I mean, the emotional side of it says, I wish he would stick around. But let's face it, it's not the same Bobby. He's gonna be a year older. So it's a good move for him. I mean, eventually, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to all these guys at one point. Alan says 3-1. I like that as well. I'll go with my
Sim,
stat
before we go,
3-1. Saidu's at 2-1, and is with his. He does not like Henderson, that's for sure. I don't know. I'm a huge fan.
So before we go, though, what is your top 4 percentages?
Top 4 percentages? No, we're still the same. We're still the same, especially with Newcastle winning yesterday. I was gonna bump it a little bit, but I'm still at 34. We're still at 34.
Mine went down.
Oh, you went down. Oh,
mate, I had faith in
Wolves. Started the show with this,
mate. I'm telling you right now. When I seen that Wolves performance, genuinely, I've never seen a team get out of second gear less than them against United. They were absolutely dog shit. And you're like, why? And then you go to Brighton, and then he thinks he wants to be fucking again, a cross between Pep and Jupankis, and start and play 18-year-old Australian kids. And you're like, I thought those 2 games, one of them would drop points. That was always my faith.
But Bournemouth, I have hope in, to be honest.
Yeah, but I don't have hope in Chelsea.
Yeah, sadly.
Away. I have hope. I have more hope in Fulham getting something just because of the FA Cup game.
Yeah.
I have more hope in Fulham. Mitrovic going back there, going, that ain't happening again. I'm going to show you.
So what did you go down to, by the way?
Sorry?
What did you go down to percentage-wise?
48.
You were up there, bro.
48.
Dude, we went under 50. Holy cow.
Because of fucking Brighton. How dare Brighton, by the way? Right?
One rotation and everything goes south.
Not even that. They back at Liverpool all season. They play Everton, lose 5-1. Go to Newcastle and lose 4-1. Fuck you, Brighton. Fuck you. How dare you?
Yeah,
you play against Liverpool and genuinely turn into one of the best sides in the league. And I'm thinking, fuck me, what a team this Brighton is, Oh, they're playing Everton there, then lose 5-1. Then I think, okay, forget about it. You just beat Arsenal 3-0 away. What a result. Go to Newcastle. Just get a point. No, you lose 4-1. Fuck you, Brighton.
To be fair, it was 2-1 till what, like 90th or something like that, and looked like they could maybe get something because you could tell, and that's why I think Newcastle had some ways to go, how shaky and nervous Newcastle was when it was 2-1, and they were kind of like, Brighton was winning corner kicks and stuff like that. We had our hopes, but that's why you keep the percentages low, so you never have to go down. You just keep going up. Okay, 34 it is. But let's hope. I will be missing the game tomorrow, actually. Layla's graduating from high school, so I'm going to be the dad with vibrating notification.
How selfish is she?
I know. Who schedules that shit like that, right?
It's all
I talked to the dean personally, and I told him I was not too happy with the scheduling, but they did not seem to change it. It is what it is. So they don't seem to. He was like, "Who is Liverpool?" So he thought it was a relative who couldn't make it. But yeah, let's hope we get the 3 points tomorrow, and when it's Monday, the percentage is back up. And we are back in the chase of the top 4. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. We'll see you guys Monday. Take care.